idea that we don't have elimination of assault-type weapons, magazines that can hold multiple bullets in them, is absolutely mindless. It is no violation of the Second Amendment. It is it's just a bow to the special interest of the gun manufacturers and the NRA.
So he wants to ban magazines that have multiple bullets in them. Let's study that for a minute, shall we? Joining me now from Reston, Virginia, from the Media Research Center, director of MRC-TV, Eric Scheiner. Eric, now I know we're kind of laughing a little bit here, but you know he means it. And this is the unfortunate part, right? He'll ban anything to get elected, and he'll attack and wipe out the Second Amendment in order to get elected. But, I mean, this is more than just a gaffe. I think this is the inner workings of Joe Biden and any of these radicals' minds.
Yeah, you know what's dangerous and irrational and mindless is when people running for political office propose laws. They don't understand guns in any way, shape, or form. I mean, come on, multiple bullets in a magazine. You know, earlier on the campaign trail, he talked about if you need 100 clips in your gun, you're not hunting properly. I didn't know you could fit 100 clips in your gun. But this is Joe Biden. You know, I agree with you. These are more than just gaffes. These really lie to something deeper, like the complete inability to understand that phrase, shall not infringe. That seems to be totally left out of Joe Biden's conversation.
You'd think they do their homework. You know, they try and do their homework ostensibly on climate change. You'd think they do just a little bit of research so they could kind of sound like they're making sense when they're talking about firearms, but apparently they don't really care. And this leads me to Beto, who I like to call Robert Francis. Don't call me Francis O'Rourke on this program. He's going full tilt anti-2A as well. He's effectively saying now, Eric, hey, if you own a long gun in this country, if he's elected president, he's coming for your firearm.
Yeah, he wants to have a buyback program. That's what he says, a government buyback program, which first of all is fantasy because the government never owns your gun, so they really can't buy it back from you. And we can also talk about the expense of that program. Nobody seems to want to put a price tag on it with the millions of guns out there. But, I mean, it's just he's saying we're going to come for your guns. You don't need to own it. We've decided, in fact, his thing is we need to buy back every single assault weapon using the royal we. I guess he knows what's best for us. I know I didn't sign on to this idea. I don't think you did, Graham. But Beto likes to use the royal we in decreeing that the state has decided what's been best for all of us. And again, in this case, a complete lack of understanding of the shall not infringe part of the Second Amendment. But this is what they do. They rather talk this type of rhetoric than talk some real sense in trying to address the real issues.
The royal we. It sounds like something that Americans should run far away from and fast. Bottom line is, if you care about the Second Amendment at all, if you care about the Bill of Rights at all, I don't know how you can support any of these fascists that are running on the Democrat side for the nomination there. Speaking of fascists, we now have Bernie Sanders, who it seems like every week he's coming up with a new plan to redistribute wealth. Now he's got another new one he's hawking out there, has to do with medical debt. So it's not good enough to take over Medicare and give, quote, Medicare for all, so-called, but now he wants to erase all debt.
Yeah, this was a question from the audience. He was campaigning out in South Carolina, and somebody asked him about, well, you know, you can have Medicare for all, but what about people that already have medical debt? Well, he's got a separate piece of legislation that's going to take care of that, too. He has legislation for everything, Bernie. There's a regulation and a law to take care of anything by redistributing wealth. How does he want to do this? Well, he didn't explain, other than that he will eliminate medical debt. But this is because this is a right, just like college is a right. I mean, $1.6 trillion in outstanding student debt. He's going to pay for that as well. I mean, he has ways to pay for everything. How does he want to pay for student debt? Well, he wants to put a tax on those who trade stocks and bonds. I don't think that's going to cover $1.6 trillion, just a thought. So I have no idea how he's going to come up with covering medical debt as well. But I'm sure there's going to be a tax or regulation. You know, there'll be a nice tax that will bring in the funds and grow the government. That's really the main focus of all of these plans.
Well, why stop there? Why just medical? Why not we just, you know, Bernie Sanders just waves a magic wand, his redistribution of wealth wand, and wipe out all debt for all Americans? And who pays, Bernie? That's the burning question.
Harry Potter has that wand.
No, but the burning question is the mainstream media never seems to add all this up and ask him who pays. Who pays for all this? Well, ultimately, of course, Eric, you and I pay. Eric, thanks.